Good afternoon, church family. Today is Monday, the 12th of April, and I am so glad to be able to greet you here in my weekly update. Just about the time that I think, well, the update may have run its course, I get 3 or 6 or 12 people telling me, hey, Pastor Jim, I love tuning in on the update. And so we'll continue to do this for the foreseeable future. I hope that it gives you some of the things that you need to hear, or some of the things you want to hear. I hope it's just a blessing to you. Let me just say this. I give you numbers regularly, and I'm going to give you numbers again today, and I'm going to say a few other things about numbers. But I want you to understand that the real health or the real success of a church is not how many people are coming, not how much money is given. The real success of a church is how many people are being conformed into the image of Christ. How many disciples are being made? How many folks are repenting of their sins and trusting Christ, beginning that road of discipleship? How many people are going through the waters of baptism, that very first act of discipleship, of following Jesus? And then from there, how many people are walking with Jesus daily and becoming more and more like Him? That's really the measure of the success of a church. And unfortunately, those are kind of numbers that you can't really quantify those kinds of things. I mean, you can say how many people you've baptized, you can say how many people have joined the church, but you can't really say how many people are walking with Jesus, how many people are closer to Him, more close to Him today than they were yesterday, how many people have been more conformed into His image today than they were yesterday. Those things are only, at the end, only known to the Lord. And so as I give you these numbers today, just remember that they're not the most important ones. And yet, in some ways, I can't really give you the most important ones. And so bear with me as I give you the ones that I do have. Yesterday in worship, we had about 178. That's a good number. It's about 40 less than we had for our Easter weekend. But it was the end of our spring break for our students and those kinds of things, and so we understand certainly what's going on. Also 107 in Sunday school. That number has been about the same for the last 3 weeks or so, and then 50 on our live stream. So that's still a good number of folks that are tuning in either through our YouTube channel or through our Facebook Live, and they are connecting with us. And those numbers, by the way, let me just say, those numbers are those who are watching us live. Those aren't the numbers of people who are watching into the day on Sunday, later in the week. We have even more folks who are tuning in that way. But these are just those who are really joining us by way of the internet during our worship time, during our worship service. And so the Lord seems to really be blessing our church. We're about 100 down still from where before COVID, but I'm excited at what the Lord's doing. Some of you ask about our giving. I'm not going to give you a financial report right now. I don't really have those numbers in front of me, but let me just tell you that the Lord has blessed us financially too over this past year. And so God's people are faithful to give their tithes and offerings. We've seen that both in the general fund tithing, but also in our special giving, the Mission First offering. Just some incredible things that the Lord's doing through our giving. And so I'm excited for all of that. And so you need to be encouraged. The Lord is taking care of His people, and we are being blessed. Just a few things, and these are in no particular order, just the way that I thought of them, and I wrote them down. So I want to bring them to you, just some things you need to be aware of. First, we're in need of some Vacation Bible School volunteers. If you're willing to help, please contact the church office. Talk to Miss Corrigan. Allow her to find a place of service for you. We are particularly looking for somebody to help out with music this year. Our normal music leaders aren't going to be able to help us this year. And so if you are willing to do that, if you have some kind of musical talent or training, and you really like to teach children music, then we invite you, please, you call Corrigan and talk to her even today. This coming Thursday evening at 6:30, that's April 15th at 6:30, is Man Church. And so this will be our first time back since COVID. It's a lot of fun. It's really an opportunity for men to encourage one another, for us to walk together, to really challenge one another to walk with Jesus. And so I invite you to be a part of that. We'll have good food. We'll have a lot of fun together. So come be a part of that. Our women's ministry on the 8th of May, that's Saturday, May 8th, about a month from now, is going to have their Paint to Praise. This is a painting opportunity for our ladies, but it's interwoven with some spiritual truths and some encouragement, and then just the fellowship that comes with ladies being together. And so that's at 10 a.m. on Saturday, May the 8th, and I'd like to invite you to be a part of that. Our women's ministry is really slowly starting to crank back up. We have a women's Bible study starting this week. We have our women's Paint to Praise coming up. There's a movie night that's set for later in the summer. And so all of these things are starting to happen. And so I want to invite you, make you aware of them, invite you to be a part of those. Also, this is a little different. This really has to do with our church business, the way that we do things like that. But our nominating committee is beginning their movement towards staffing our church for next year, for 2022. And so if you're interested in serving in some of the business capacities in our church, on some of our committees, our Property and Space Committee, our Finance Committee, our Personnel Committee, our Missions Committee, some of those types of things, then I would really invite you to let our nominating committee know. They have a sign-up sheet at the information desk in our vestibule, or you can call the church office, you can email me, whatever you'd like to do. Just let us know that you're interested in serving in one of those capacities for next year, and we'll make sure that your name is put before the nominating committee. Often, the nominating committee struggles to have a good pool of willing participants from which to staff our church business opportunities, leadership opportunities from. And so I invite you to be a part of that process. And then finally, Pastor Aaron made mention of this yesterday. I just want to reiterate it. We have turned one of the desks in the lobby or the foyer of our church into a missions opportunity desk. And so if you were to leave from the educational wing of our church, let's say you were to come out of the fellowship hall and you were to walk down that corridor where all the Sunday school classrooms are, and then you were to take a right and cross over what we call the crossover from one building into the sanctuary building, immediately to the right, after you cross the crossover, is our missions desk. If you were to come in the doorway into our church foyer from the portico, let's say your loved one or a friend dropped you off underneath the portico, and you came in that doorway, if you were to make a left and walk to the end of the foyer, you'll see that missions desk. That's where it is, at the junction between the foyer and the crossover. That's our missions desk. And so even in the future, there's going to be sign-up opportunities there. We hope to even automate those through use of some kind of iPad or some other type of tablet there, so you can just type right in, go right into the internet, and you can sign up for our missions opportunities. Those will be right there. I want to remind you that that's where they are. We want you to visit that desk often, frequently, as you see what kind of opportunities there are to serve in our church and beyond. And so that's really what we have this week. There's several opportunities for you to participate with. Let me invite you to one more opportunity. If you're not involved in a Sunday school class, I would like to encourage you to do that. Now, you hear Sunday school, you hear Sunday school class, you may think, well, it's just Bible teaching and that's all there is. Well, there is quality Bible teaching in our Sunday school classes. But that's not all there is. In fact, that is our first line, our first connection point, if you will, for people to minister to others and to receive ministry. It's the way you get to know people in our church. It's the way that you are able to participate in people's lives. And so if you're not part of our Sunday school program, I'd like to invite you to be a part. If you are fearful, maybe you've not ever been, you don't know where you would fit, contact me or somebody else on staff, and we would love to connect you with. And we may give you 2 or 3 options, and you just go and see about those options until you find just the right spot, and then we'd invite you to just plug in. We really want you to be an active participant in the whole body life of First Baptist Church Concord, and so I'd like to invite you to be a part of that. Thank you for tuning in, church family. I want you to know that I love you. Community, I'm so grateful to be in your life and you to be in ours. I hope that you would allow us to get closer together. All of these things are just fun things, but they're really for the glory of God and for the sake of Jesus Christ. And so we'd invite you to be a part of all that we're doing. God bless you. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.